So today I'm going to do a little bit of a progress update. I've been doing a lot of body work on the side of this thing. I got it all primered with rattle can primer right now, but over the seams, of course you can refer back to my previous videos and see how it was before, but there's a patch. The lower side of the rocker's been patched, and I put that Bondo glass, it's that fiberglass stranded stuff, I put that down first over the seams, and then put the actual plastic, Bondo filler over that. And I figured that would be a little bit better because that fiberglass stuff is supposedly, it doesn't attract moisture, whereas the Bondo, the traditional stuff, does. So, and I got it pretty flat. It's not perfect yet. There's a few spots that need to be addressed. Let's see. Don't know how good you can see that, but I did it all by hand with this 2x4, which I verified is straight. Sandpaper on both sides. There's 80 grit and 180, and this 2x4 is probably a little over 2 feet long. And I just went, over the sides over and over again, first in a crisscross pattern like that. And I figured that's the safest way to do it, because when you have a long flat panel, I noticed when I was using air tools to sand it, that just the heat from the air tool moving quickly was causing the sheet metal to expand in spots, and it was causing too much friction and making inconsistencies. So I just went ahead and did the whole thing by hand, and I think I got pretty good results, considering. I mean, you don't really need expensive equipment to do that, as long as you got a 2x4 that is straight. And so it needs more, but it's pretty good. I need to hurry up and get it where it needs to be so I can put some epoxy primer on it and seal it. And until then, I won't be able to rest easy thinking it may rust at any moment. But other than that, I'll take you back here. I was doing some work. That the engine deck lid prop was torn. The inner piece, which is welded on, was torn, like somebody slammed it or they backed into something with it open perhaps. So I got that working right again. That's really handy. And got the proper oil filter. I mean, not oil filter, oil bath air filter, which I cleaned up and painted. And I painted the letters in because it just looks neat that way. And the bottom of that thing was rusted up like Swiss cheese, and I was able to braze that up so it doesn't leak. Let's see what else we got going. Oh, got a channel decal. That's pretty cool. I'll open up this side. I got the little extender for the shifter so I don't have to slouch forward too much. And at the base of the shifter, I got one of those kits where it's a spacer and it makes the throws of the shifter shorter. So that's pretty cool. It actually works pretty well. It was only $10, so that was a good buy. And got the speedometer hooked up so I know how slow I'm going. And you see there's a hole there next to the gas gauge, which should not be there. And I'll have you know, I didn't put that hole there. It was, somebody had a tachometer. Somebody a long time ago must have put it in. And so I figured I'd, at least since the hole's there already, I guess I'll get a new tachometer and put there, because I would like to do some calculations with the gear ratio, because I've got to thinking, because the past, in my other videos I was saying how loud it sounded, like ring and pinion noise maybe, or carrier bearing noise, something like that. And I got to thinking that somebody might have, the transaxle that's in this might actually be out of a Beetle, because that would make good sense, because in order for them to use the gear reduction boxes with the Beetle transmission, they would have had to, I believe, flip the ring gear or the carrier, not exactly sure, but they would have had to flip it in order to use the gear reduction boxes. That would explain the noise, because it wasn't properly set up. It was just thrown together. And that would also explain why it seems like it won't go over like 45, maybe 50 tops, because the Beetle has a shorter fourth gear ratio from what I've been reading, and the bus has a taller one because it was intended to use with the gear reduction boxes. So that's a pretty good theory, but I have no way to verify that, because the numbers that were on the transfer case, I couldn't find any information on them. And even if I could, that doesn't mean that it hasn't been changed anyhow. So, but I was able to go and pick up this. This is the later big nut transaxle from a 1966 bus. And so ultimately I would like to, do some resealing on this, and it should be in, fine shape, usable as far as I know. So we'll go from there. I might be able to just flush the thing out and do whatever needs to be done and throw the thing in, and then we'll see, because reportedly these big nut gear reduction boxes have a slightly taller ratio than the ones, the small nuts like what I have right now. So we can go from there, and that was one reason I thought it'd be really cool to have a tachometer, because at least I could do some real calculations with the gear ratios and figure out exactly what's what. But other than that, that's about all the progress I've made so far. So thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe, and hopefully I'll have some more exciting videos for you in the future, because today is just kind of a dreary day. Thanks.